What's up, scorers? Welcome back to the channel. It's been an exciting week. We've been going back and forth in the comments. We've been talking about the history of the NBA. We're talking about current things that's going on in the NBA. But before we start, make sure you guys check out our merch page, scoresociety.com. It's hoodie season, and I know you need a quality hoodie. And it's always hooping season, so we got basketball shorts for you. So check us out, scoresociety.com. And make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share to keep boosting the channel. Now, let's get right into it. LeBron James saw Stephen A. Smith, and he stood on business. Now, there's been some mixed reviews with this. Oh, he took it too far, or, you know, he's a father, and he should have did that. And personally, I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it real. I would have did the same thing. I would have did the same thing if I would have saw Stephen A. Smith. Because here's the thing. Stephen A. Smith been on the scene for years. He's been on the scene before LeBron James. So I know him and LeBron James got to have some level of personal relationship. I know they got each other's phone numbers or maybe an assistant phone number or something. And you going to really come at my son every week, every chance you get. Now, some people are saying, well, Bronny's in the league and he should be able to handle his own business. It's not our fault that he's not good. You're missing it. It's not about being good. It's about doing what's fair as an analyst, as a media person. And a lot of you guys and a lot of media people are being unfair to Bronny. And let me tell you why. Yes, Bronny is averaging, 1 or 2 points in the NBA. But you go to the G League, he's averaging 20 points, which is pretty good for a guy who y'all thought wouldn't even do good there. And then I had to look up something. I had to look up how many people are doing better than Bronny. How many people are doing better than Bronny who are drafted? And I found this. First off, there are over 26 players who were drafted first round and second round who is not scoring over 5 points a game. So you may say, well, they play for good teams. Is the Lakers not a good team? Is they not ranked third in the conference? At least in this moment. So whenever this video comes out, they might be like fifth or whatever, but top 5. Then you say, well, they had a better college career than Bronny. Could be very, very true. Very true. But there's a lot of guys who come from overseas that you don't know. That you don't know what their points per game was. In fact, some of these guys has been drafted in the first round and haven't scored a point in the NBA yet. I got 3 guys, and I'm not going to do no names. Y'all do your own research. I'm not even going to tell you the draft number, but I will say it's in the first round. 3 guys in the first round who's scoring less than 2 points a game in the first round. First round. So how bad is Bronny really doing? How bad is he doing? You got 27 guys from the NBA draft that's averaging less than 5 points. They've been drafted before Bronny. They've been drafted after Bronny. Bronny's one of the only guys who's really killing it and the level he should be killing it at. So if I was LeBron James, I'm stepping too. Now, what you got against my son? Why you do? And even if you got something against my son, don't be coming over here trying to be cool. I'm not cool with you, man. Don't come over here with the cool stuff. Because you know what you're trying to do. You're trying to create a narrative. You're trying to create another narrative that make it seem like my son don't belong. And for some of you guys, and for you guys who don't understand basketball, it's not always about what you did in college. If you was killing in the workouts, that can make a big difference. That can make a big difference. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying there's no politics involved. But the higher you go in anything, there's going to be politics. There's always going to be politics involved. But to sit and waste so much time and to always pinpoint everything Bronny does, it's not fair, and you're kind of picking on him. So I'm checking you too. If I was the father of a kid who's doing his best he can, and you keep coming for him on a national platform, I'm checking you. Continuing with LeBron James, he's out. He's out for about 1 to 2 weeks with a groin injury. I feel like he has these little injuries every year around this time, which is understandable. I know what people are saying. He should be playing all the games. Kobe would have played all the games. But if you work somewhere for 22 years and you did a great job, I'm pretty sure you would want to come in a little late, have a couple more weeks of vacation if you could. So we're gonna give him his time to rest. He's gonna need it, especially with the playoffs right around the corner. They're gonna need him. They're gonna need a well-rested 40-year-old prime superstar. I'm just concerned where they're gonna drop to, because they will drop. I think they'll drop. I don't think they'll beat all the games to the next 2 weeks. So you got Milwaukee coming up. Milwaukee, they're decent. They're pretty good. They got some athleticism. Guys are still trying to figure their role. So I think it'll be a good game. I definitely think it'll be a good game for the Lakers and the Bucks. Then Denver. Denver is definitely coming for revenge. Denver, they see it. They see what the media is saying. They see how people, was dragging them in the media. So they're coming for revenge. Phoenix Suns, they're looking pretty good. They're not winning a lot of games just yet. They're not on some crazy winning streak right now. But they're definitely dangerous. And then you got San Antonio Spurs. I think they can pull that game out. They can pull that out. I don't really got no comments on that. I think like the man-to-man matchup, I think they can do it. And then you got Denver again, I believe. But the thing with that group, they're not deep enough. The Lakers just not deep enough, especially without LeBron James. LeBron James need to be in that lineup because after him and Luka, and Reeves is actually consistent, but they don't have anyone else consistent we can depend on. Dalton Connect is really good. Dalton Connect scored 19 against the Nets, but it's not a 19 points we can depend on next game. So rest up, Bron, get back to it, and hopefully we see the Lakers in June. Now let's get away from the whole Bronny talk, Lakers talk. Let's talk about the MVP race. SGA is winning the MVP race in my opinion. However, I think he has to do too much for that team to win. Right now, he's leading them in scoring, assists, steals, and blocks. He leads them in minutes played, obviously, and shots taken. I don't see that being sustainable for 4 series of 7 games. For 4 rounds of basketball, let's say they all go to 7 games. Let's say they go to 5 games. That's going to be hard to win. Last year, he led him in everything. Last year, playoffs, he led him in points, rebounds, and assists. You're going to burn him out. You want to burn him out. The other guys need to step up. He's the only point guard. And God forbid he gets injured. God forbid he gets injured. I don't see the Thunder going that far. They don't have enough experience. If he stays healthy, yes, they can go far. If he stays healthy, which I believe he will, but still, I don't think it's a championship team. I just don't think it's a championship team yet. I think they're playing great. I think they're playing outstanding. Not a lot of guys are hurt. Not a lot of guys are injured. Not a lot of guys are sitting out like other teams. So they're getting, they getting the best of guys. But I think if you make them pass during the playoffs, make it hard for them to get to the basket, I think you're going to see a different OKC team.
If the Thunder don't make it far this year in the playoffs, should they blow it up next season?
No, they shouldn't blow it up. I don't even like when teams do that. Like when they get far and then be like, man, let's just throw away the whole team. That's like you having like a little ball spot right here in your head, and they be like, just get rid of all the hair. Just go bald. Rather, you know what I mean? Like, just come on, let's just blend it in with something or just rock it and just try to get away with it, right? But no, I don't think they should blow it out. I think they would need more experience. I think that's the shaky thing about them. They just don't have enough experience in my eyes. I think they're good. They have talent. I love how they all come together for their interviews. I think that's super cool. But I don't think they have enough experience to go 4 rounds against another experienced team like a Denver Nuggets, the Lakers. I don't see them going that far. And then you're riding the back of one player. Like Williams is great, but he's no point guard. LeBron James can be a point guard. Luka can get you a triple double. Like these, you talk about proven guys. Like then Luka had like 60, 21, and 10 one time or something like that. Like you talk about proven guys, bro. Like Denver Nuggets, proven guys. So, but I don't think they should blow it up. But you know who is a good team? The Cleveland Cavaliers. I got a chance to watch him over the weekend against the Milwaukee Bucks. At one point, the Milwaukee Bucks had 86 points. 64 of the points were scored by Giannis and Lillard. The Cleveland Cavaliers high scorer, I believe he finished the game with 17 points, and that was Strauss. They don't care who scored. They don't care who get the reward. They don't care who's doing what. They just trying to win. They enjoy winning, and they enjoy playing with each other, and their record shows. When you have a team like that, where nobody cares about scoring, they just want to win, they're dangerous. It reminds me of the '04 Pistons team. They was a dangerous team. They didn't care about anything other than winning. Cleveland might not be an exciting team to watch all the time, but they're a really good team. They are a really good team, and I'm excited to see how they carry it through the playoffs. I'm looking around. I'm looking at some of the sports podcasts, some of the sports shows, and I'm noticing a trend. I'm noticing that they all talk about the same thing. And sometimes I'm guilty of that. And I think that can play a part into the ratings fluctuating all the time. We only talk about the Lakers, KD if some drama, Paul George if he shuts down his podcast, the Cleveland Cavaliers because I think some of us are still shocked that they're playing as well as they're playing. SGA is doing great. Jokic, he's averaging a triple-double. I don't think we talk about the Rockets enough. Detroit Pistons. The Memphis Grizzlies is doing great. We could talk more about the Knicks. Milwaukee Bucks is not playing bad. They're not playing bad at all. They're about fourth or fifth in the Eastern Conference. They're about right where they always are. The Hawks are staying in there. The Hawks are still around that seventh spot. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that these are great places to be. These are great places to be in the standings. But what I am saying is that there's more to talk about. We don't talk about basketball enough. We talk about more of the drama stuff, which I get it. Drama sells. Trust me, I know there's a lot of drama out there to be sold, but there's a lot of good basketball being played as well. So we got to check it out. We got to start talking about guys like the Detroit Pistons who's having a great year. Got to start talking about the Houston Rockets, man. I like watching the Houston Rockets play. That's another team who they only care about winning. They only care about winning. They only want to play together. They don't care who gets the credit. They don't care who gets the rewards. They're playing well. They're playing well. So we got to just start talking more about the good things in the NBA. So people who stop saying, oh, the NBA is weak. It's weak. No, bro. You just focused on the wrong teams, or maybe you just focused on the teams that the media tells you to focus on. Now, let's get into my favorite segment, Brainwash to Think Elite. Now, for all my new viewers, if you don't know what Brainwash to Think Elite is, it's when we talk about subjects that make us think outside of the box. Think outside of media narratives. And we want to carry this thought process not only on the court, but off the court as well. Remember, I'm only using basketball as a tool, a form of entertainment of sort. However, I do want you to use this mindset in all areas of life. I want you to question everything. I want you to look a little deeper than what you see on TV, what you hear in music. And this way, you can live a peaceful and prosperous life. But the only way you can do that is get this right first. So you have to be brainwashed to think elite. Today's topic on Brainwashed to Think Elite, there's no such thing as a super team. I said it. The media has put in your mind that there was this super team that was out there. Nope. It's called a winning formula. In the NBA, you can't win a championship without 2 All-Stars or 2 All-Star caliber players, or in some cases, 2 to 3 Hall of Famers. Now, I'm looking and I go back, and I didn't go far. I just went to the 90s, 1990 to 2024. And I noticed that every team that won a championship, with the exception of about 4, had an All-Star on it, or a former All-Star, or All-Star caliber players. For example, in 1994, Hakeem Olajuwon was the only All-Star for the Houston Rockets. But that doesn't mean he didn't have an All-Star caliber player in Otis Thorpe. Otis Thorpe that year averaged 14 and 11. Now you may say, well, Sean, how is that an All-Star caliber player? Well, if you compare the team they played in the finals, the Knicks, Charles Oakley was the second All-Star on that team with Patrick Ewing. Charles Oakley averaged 10 points and 11 rebounds. Otis Thorpe averaged 14 and 11 rebounds. The reason why Otis Thorpe didn't make the All-Star game is because he had to sit behind David Robinson, Karl Malone, Sean Kemp, Dikembe Mutombo, Shaq, and of course, Hakeem Olajuwon. So it was harder for him to make the All-Star game. Doesn't mean he wasn't an All-Star caliber player. You put him in the East, he would have made the team. And if you want to go back and look at all the other teams that prove me wrong, be my guest. Just to save yourself some time, you already know 6 rings in the 90s was won by one team. And you already know who the All-Stars and Hall of Famers were for that team. Not to mention they add more Hall of Famers when they put Dennis Rodman on that team. But if you want to go look at the 1999 Spurs team, you'll go ahead and find that David Robinson and Tim Duncan were both All-Stars and Hall of Famers. You want to go look at the 2000s to the 2002, you'll see that Kobe Bryant and Shaq, All-Stars and Hall of Famers. So no matter where you go with it, there's always been 2 All-Stars on a team. Maybe not the Dallas Mavericks 2011 who had Dirk Nowitzki. Maybe not the Detroit Pistons of 2004 who had 1 All-Star, which is Ben Wallace, but Ben Wallace didn't win the Finals MVP. Chauncey Billups did, who I would consider an All-Star caliber player. Now, you always hear these things, these little narratives, these titles like white collar crime. Well, it's a crime. You can name it whatever you want to name it. Black on black crime. Well, yeah, I guess so. If you live around all black people, what's the crime's going to be on? These little sayings that drive in people's head, or these little terms that drive in people's head to make people peddle this narrative that something exists that was never there. There's no such thing as a super team. It's called a winning formula. You say LeBron James started the super team era. As if Ray Allen and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett wasn't on the same team. You will use teams like the Lakers in '04 when they had Gary Payton and Karl Malone. Let me guess, that wasn't considered a super team. It's not a super team. It's a winning formula. Both players, before they went to the Lakers the year before, they averaged 20 points. I'm pretty sure when they traded them, they had intent to be a super team. But I just call it a winning formula. You can't win in basketball without dogs. You can't win in basketball without 3 to 4 players averaging double digits. It's just a formula. Yes, you may not like how LeBron James did it. You may have want people to come to Cleveland instead. But here's the thing about the LeBron James super team talk. He was the superstar on the super team. Now remember, I don't use the term super team. I call it a winning formula. But I'm going to give you an example. If you are playing in high school and you're killing it, you're one of the top guys at your school. Not one of the top guys, you're the top guy. You're averaging 27 points a game, and you're going to the state finals since sophomore to junior year. But you know, they don't got good coaches. The principal over there, he don't really care to bring players to help the team win championships. He's not really a basketball guy. And then you say, you know what? I'm going to transfer to Oak Hill Academy. I'm going to transfer to Oak Hill Academy. And then you average 27 points at Oak Hill Academy. You did the same thing you did at your old high school with your new high school. And the new high school got bigger superstars than before. How is that a knock against you? How is that a knock? If anything, it should show you're that good. You're that good. But we're so caught up in this media hype of super team and not realizing it's just a formula that's been done for years. Chris Bosh is a great player, but you wouldn't say he's your top 10 power forward all time. You wouldn't even say he's your top power forward that year. In fact, Chris Bosh averaged the least amount of points with the Heat outside of his first 2 years in the league. First 2 years in the league with the Raptors, he averaged 11 points. Then I believe he averaged 14. Then everything else went up. He got with the Miami Heat. The years he won the championship, he averaged about 15, 16 points. D Wade in some of them finals, he averaged about 22 points, 24 points. You combine that, that's about close to 40 points or 40 points. Didn't Shaq average 37 points and Kobe averaged 27 points in the finals? It's a formula. You need that much production. Don't care if it come from 2, 3, but most times it's not going to come from 1 and still win. It's just a formula. Nobody calls the San Antonio Spurs a super team. Oh, let me guess, because nobody got traded over there. But they have 4 Hall of Famers. Kawhi Leonard's going to be a Hall of Famer. Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and a Greg Popovich system. Nobody's saying that's a super team, though. They play OKC. Is Kevin Durant not going to be a Hall of Famer? Westbrook not going to be a Hall of Famer? James Harden not going to be a Hall of Famer? Oh, they were young. But the very next year, James Harden gets traded. He's averaging over 30. Westbrook, a few years later, is averaging triple doubles. How young were they? So when we sit here and create this narrative and run with this narrative that it was a super team, you're running in the wrong direction. It's something that's called a winning formula. Now, how is this part of a segment called Brainwash to Think Elite? I want you guys to think about stuff like this. I want you guys to think about when the media has these terms and we feed into it and they don't exist. This is the mindset I want you to have on and off the court. I want you to really think about why you do the things you do, why you want the things you want, why are you saying the things about people, yourself. Why are you saying these things? Did you get this from the media? Or did you get this from a narrative? Because most times when people are peddling narratives, they really don't exist. It's just a cool little term to say. Super team is just a cool little term to say. What you're really trying to say is it was a winning formula. And it shouldn't be a knock on anyone if they found a winning formula, especially if they were the leader of the winning formula. They didn't take a step back, especially if everyone else was doing it. Is Golden State not a team full of 3 to 4 All-Stars and Hall of Famers when they won them championships? I mean, let's just start thinking. Brainwash to think of league. Our next segment is us interacting. It's called Dap Me Up. If you feel me, if you want to dap me up with what I'm about to say, just go ahead and leave a fist emoji, a handshake emoji, just to let me know you feel me. And if you don't feel what I'm saying, leave a comment. Let me know why you don't feel me. Dap me up. James Harden is not getting enough credit. He's not getting enough credit for the work he's doing this year. Yes, they're in teetering between the 6th or 8th spot, but let's be honest. After the season he had the year before, after all the media stuff and all the things that people say about him, him being out of shape and him not playing the same way he used to play, and Kawhi Leonard going down, he's still keeping his team in a playoff run. He carried the team for the bulk of the season. And we don't talk about him enough. We don't talk about him enough as far as his production and what he's doing at the age 35. He's still averaging 22 points, still averaging 6 rebounds, 8 assists, still doing a great job making those young guys look good. Let me know. If you ain't feeling what I'm saying, go ahead and let me know in the comments. If you're feeling me, go ahead and shake hands. Dap me up. Dap me up. I don't think Luka can keep the Lakers in that 2-3 spot while LeBron James is going. If you don't feel me, let me know. But the reason why I'm saying that is because I think he got to take too many shots to get what he wants. I don't think he has enough chemistry with the guys without LeBron. I haven't seen them gel just yet. It's too up and down as far as production. Too many guys that got numbers that I don't think they can hold. You talking to Guy Vincent, he's pretty good, but he's not going to score 24 points every game. Connect scored 19 points. He's not. He hasn't done it. No one's consistent. Reeves is consistent, and their bench is not deep enough. They go 8, 9 deep with inconsistent scoring. Nah, I don't see him. I don't see him holding that 2-3 spot. They'll still be in the playoffs, but not. In my last segment, I like to read the comments. We get some good comments. Shout out to the people who showing love. Shout out to the people who agree with me. You don't always got to agree with me to show love. You can disagree with me and still show love. But there's nothing more entertaining than the comments that disagree with my takes. I put out this clip. In this clip, I question Michael Jordan winning Defensive Player of the Year 1987-88. When Larry Bird played the Bulls that year, how much did he average? 36 points. When Dominique Wilkins played against the Bulls that year, how much did he average? 37 points. I didn't look at Karl Malone because Karl Malone played a different position. But on the wings, the guys are scoring 30-something points. So then I'm like, well, how's he the Defensive Player of the Year, but they dropping 37? Well, never mind. I wasn't around to watch it, so we'll just say he was guarding somebody else. So I'm not saying Michael Jordan couldn't play defense. He wasn't a great defender. I'm not trying to discredit him. By the way, Michael Jordan is my number 2 of all time. He's my guy. I love Michael Jordan. But I do have questions. I have questions about his opponents. He got Defensive Player of the Year 87 and 88. I went back to see who was the top 5 scorers that year. And I was hoping to see guards, but I didn't. I saw other perimeter players such as Larry Bird and Dominique Wilkins. Now, some people were saying you're a fool. You named a bunch of forwards when you said guards. Yes, I was looking for guards, but they weren't there in the top 5. So I went with the next best thing, which was small forwards. Some people were like, oh man, when does small forwards, guards, shooting guards? Listen, I'm 6'3". If you 6'5" and we have the same athleticism, or I might be more athletic, and you drop in numbers, I'm talking numbers. Larry Bird and Dominique Wilkins averaged over 37 points against the Bulls. I'm switching. I'm switching to show you I'm a Defensive Player of the Year. But then someone came with a better reason why Michael Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year. And he said this: because he led the league in steals, he led all guards in blocks, and he locked down most of the guards in the league. Okay, I don't know what most of the guards is, but when I go look at him and Clyde Drexler matchup, Clyde Drexler averaged 31 points. But he is completely right. Locking down players does not necessarily mean you need to be the Defensive Player of the Year. That doesn't give you that doesn't always give you the title. I agree with that, but it does have something to do with getting the title. You do need a stat line, though. So he used blocks. Michael Jordan had over 100 blocks that year, but so did Dwayne Wade in 2008. Dwayne Wade had over 100 blocks as a guard, but he only made the second team for the all-defense. Allen Iverson led the league in steals 3 times, only made second team all-defense once in his entire career. And he also led the league in scoring while doing that. I'm not comparing the 3. I'm not comparing the 3. But I want you to understand this was part of Brainwash to Think Elite segment. In Brainwash to Think Elite, we think outside of the box. We think outside of the narrative. We ask questions. We wonder why. We wonder how. Because I want you to have the same mindset going to anything in life. I want you to question anything the media puts out there. I want you to question any old tradition, habit, because that's the best way to stay away from it in the future. You got to question the things that's being told to you. I'm not knocking Michael Jordan. I'm not discrediting Michael Jordan. How can you discredit him? He averaged 35 points that year. That was amazing. But remember, basketball is a tool. It's a tool. It's a tool for entertainment, for us to converse with each other, and to think elite, to think outside the box. And when you think outside the box with basketball, naturally, it'll be a habit in your everyday life. And that's what our brand is about, having an elite mindset. You can't have an elite mindset not asking questions. And just because you ask questions does not mean you're knocking or discrediting someone. It means just that. You're asking a question. Jordan was amazing. He's my number 2. So I'm not discrediting him. Remember where you are. You're in Scorer Society, where we think elite and we think outside the box. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Until next time, let's continue to think elite and together. Welcome to Scorer Society.